Aaron Rodgers turned down a 2-year extension.
No.
Allegedly, it's being reported Adam Schefter, the man who's had all the information accumulated through a matter of time about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Adam Schefter tweeted this offseason, the Packers offered Aaron Rodgers a 2-year contract extension that would have tied him to Green Bay for 5 more seasons and made him the highest paid quarterback and player in football. Rodgers declined the offer. Proof. It's not about the money.
Wow.
So what happened was maybe in one of those plane trips out to see Aaron that was reported in the initial report from Adam Schefter, which at the time said, according to league and team sources, this entire thing Aaron wants out. Then Adam Schefter would go on to later say it was an accumulation of information, and the reason why I dropped it on the draft is just because even though when we read the initial report, as we were reading it, it seemed like, this is coming from Green Bay. This seems to be coming from Green Bay. I said that publicly. Just my initial reaction was, it sounds like a lot of this information that Schefter's potentially getting, and it did say, according to league and team sources in the news break, is coming from Green Bay because it was like painting an image like, hey, we're trying our best. We flew out to him. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. That was my take on it. Then I was asked privately by somebody who told me that was from Green Bay. I said that was just from reading it with the brain. that is what, as somebody that's been in there, I was then told it wasn't just from Green Bay sources. It might not have been from Green Bay sources. I'm like, well, why did it say team? They're like, well, it could have been any team. I'm like, okay, so now we're kind of picking and choosing. Yeah. But if it was agents potentially talking to Schefter or other teams talking to Schefter or the Packers or maybe Aaron's team talking to Schefter, it seems slighted in the fashion that Green Bay was trying to do everything to get Aaron back. There was no real side from Aaron. We thought that would prompt Aaron to respond. Aaron did not, because I think there was real shit popping off behind the scenes. When that news broke via Schefter's accumulation of news, is how he has titled it, I don't think Aaron, his team, or maybe even the Packers, who knows? I still think that was 100% the Packers, but that is just my opinion. That is not a fact. That could be completely wrong. The Packers were trying to paint the image to their fans about what was going on, and they might lose Aaron and piss off Aaron. And you've all seen what's going on for the years. We are fucking up, but this is what we have tried to do. Please be on our side. We're going to follow up with an email to everybody about everything that's happened and make some statements saying this has divided us. And so it seems like that's the case. But I think Aaron and his team didn't know it was going to go public, because these types of conversations, especially at the quarterback position with hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, just financially, let alone legacies and careers and privately. These conversations are very big conversations. They happen often behind closed doors. We live in a world where almost everything gets out, but you rarely hear that type of drama, especially if it was business or anything like that, between the head of an organization, which is Aaron and Mark Murphy, Gunther Kuntz, and the boys there. So as this news was rolling out, we never heard anything back from Aaron, wondering what Aaron's side was. He literally just stayed back and said, let's figure this out. Quiet. We ask AJ, you heard anything? No, I haven't heard anything. AJ, you know anything? No, I haven't heard anything. Okay, he's out in Hawaii. Something big pops off. What happens? Miles Teller gets jumped.
Oh, yeah.
In the bathroom by who knows. That is a criminal investigation that is currently happening in Maui, Hawaii. We hope Miles Teller is okay. He looked great at the UFC fight he was at a couple weeks ago.
Well said.
He did.
Quiet. The match happens. Aaron says a couple things, very sly. Barkley's trying to get him. The host is trying to get him. Fitz is trying to get him. Everybody knows that they have an opportunity for 7 hours. Is that how long the match was?
Yeah, just about.
10 hours, the match, to get something out of this. And Aaron, very incredibly well done, turned himself back babyface, by the way, through that entire thing, and said, we'll figure it out. Let's see what's going on. And I think as we have invested time into this situation via an entire sports media, not just us, everybody has talked about this, although we get attacked for talking about it a lot often, because I think a lot of Packers fans do listen to this show. Shout out to the Packers and the Packers faithful and the Packers organization. But I think as we continue to dive into this, we realize this guy has a real gripe. I think a lot of people were like, hey, with what's going on in Tampa, what's going on in Kansas City, with the elites of the elites, and what happened with Peyton in Denver whenever he left Indy and went to Denver. Even in Indy, he was all right, but he got the keys to the city in Denver. He got the keys to the building in Denver. Seems like Tom and Bruce very much on the same page. Whatever Tom wants down there, it's going to work. He's going to be allowed to do it. He's going to win a Super Bowl. Then you look in Kansas City. They are just feeding Patrick Mahomes. We are building this around Patrick Mahomes to do it. Russell Wilson saw what was going on in other places. He's like, hey, I want to be remembered as a top 5 quarterback all time with what's going on here. That ain't working. He has a gripe, allegedly. Now, there was an offer. It was turned down. He's back with Pete Carroll. Hey, we're still friends.
Tighter we've ever been.
And then old buddy's poking his head in the side of that press conference, and they must have figured that out. But that ripple effect of seeing very good quarterbacks where there are only a few of them, okay? To get in the NFL, you got to be good. All right, obviously. You got to be better than, 99% of humans that have ever stepped foot on a football field ever in their entire life. You got to be better than them. Get to the NFL is not easy. There's only a couple guys, though, that are up there. I think there'll be more, obviously. That's how the game continues, and the NFL will go on forever because there will be a next generation of greats and everything like that. Patrick Mahomes is poking his head in there. There are other young guys. Lamar Jackson has a chance. If he goes on and wins a Super Bowl or two, he has a chance. But there's only a couple guys that are getting to see what the other couple guys in their very small fraternity have been able to do. And you could see how they go, why am I not getting a chance to fucking just load up and say, hey, we need this, we need this. I think this is how day-to-day should operate, by the way. I think we should keep this person around because although their 40 might not be the best, in the locker room, they are absolutely loved. And in our team, that should be all. We're looking to be talented, we're looking to be tight, and we're looking to be terrific on the football field. That is what the goal should be. And if you have two different ideas of, oh, we're trying to be good but not great, we're trying to save money, we're trying to do this, we have this idea, we're trying to turn over, look for the future, so we're great for the next 15 years, even though you have a chance to win right now, we're just trying to be sustained great as opposed to sustained elite. I mean, or quick elite. I mean, there's just so many ideals that could potentially pop off. And I think it all stems from what's going on with Tom, what happened with Peyton, what's happening with Patrick Mahomes right now. Fans are a little bit more understanding. Like, you could see why Aaron would want to have the situation in these other places. And in Green Bay, you could have the situation to do that. These people are choosing not to, whether it's past decisions, current decisions, and I don't trust them with future decisions. I'm 30-some years old. I am in my prime.
Yeah.
Best thrower of a football ever.
Yep.
It's already documented, talked about, everything like that. How come that? And that's where we sit, and we stand. And now Schefter says a 2-year extension was offered. It would make him the highest paid. What does that mean? Does that mean year to year total? Because Patrick Mahomes getting $500 million.
Right.
Are you going on each year to year salary? His average? What are you going off of? Who knows what that meant? But he said no, and I think it's more. I think it's much more has to do with, like, do you see what everybody else who is incredible at football is getting the opportunity to do? I would like to have a little bit of a say because I understand in high school football, the player is the dumbest person out there. The smallest amount of football information in their brain has touched because they're still learning the game. In college, the college coaches are not only the gatekeeper, but also they're the people that are still teaching and you're still learning fundamentals and everything like that. Whenever you're 15 years in the NFL, 20 years in the NFL, your football IQ probably fucking better than everybody's on earth. To get that respect and feel that respect, which I think Tom was looking for, Peyton always had it. By the way, in Indy he had it, but in Denver they just said, hey, whatever the fuck you need to do, you do it. I think there's going to be more guys that are going to be looking for that opportunity. Aaron is the one right now who's a kind of odd man out with that type of freedom and power. Who's going to be next? I guess we'll have to see there. But this Aaron Rodgers situation is fascinating.
Well, and you couple all that stuff with what we've talked about ad nauseum in terms of, like, he not only not having really like a say, but then feeling slighted and disrespected and like jabbed and poked and prodded when you talk about guys you like and stuff like that. Just stuff that like teams don't really do to like a franchise quarterback. And then, I don't understand why this is all getting, kind of repackaged as breaking news, because I feel like we have known this for a long time that the Packers tried to offer him some sort of extension, although it's pretty clear that they're kind of okay with Jordan Love, so it doesn't really make that much sense that they would necessarily want Rodgers around for the next 5 years.
Yeah, so what's that mean? So now we got like a little bit of a mixed communication on what the Jordan Love pick was for them, because remember, It's not just drafting Jordan Love, it's trading up to go get Jordan Love and not saying anything to your guy. Andy Dalton was a member of the Chicago Bears for 4 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. I forget how many, maybe a week. I forget what it was. And they called him to tell him they were trading up to draft Justin Fields just because hey, this is business. This is how we're going to do it. We're doing business together. This is how we do business. I think it's all those amateur, like, business decisions that have been made behind closed doors, but then also the decisions that have been made on paper to roster and to things he said and everything like that. It's just a bunch of smacks in the mouth.
It really